You must redo it. No one's going to give it to you. You must reclaim it. And if you don't reclaim it, logically, someone who's living off your virtues is not going to say, well, this is what you do. And you shouldn't expect it. Not that it wouldn't be morally correct or ethically correct. It would be, could be. But since they're colonists, colonists have a mission, don't they? And I think the mission of a colonist is that which a leech is in dirty water, a colonist is in the political arena. His mission is to suck your essence. Why? That's where they get their nourishment from. We call it slavery. Scientists call it bloodsucking. Essence draining. Do you understand? So, what are we talking about fixing it? So, we have a covenant with Allah, with nature herself, that we have violated. Part of it is that we have agreed to the papal principles of disrespect for womanhood. The one who brings us all here. And that includes us, not a man thing. That's women that disrespected their role in society. Not what he said their role is, what they know their role is in nature. That is to nourish, nurture, cultivate civilization with knowledge, not with emotions. However, she lost knowledge because we've been held to servitude. So therefore, it is responsible for us to do what? To seek knowledge. And to embrace knowledge, not to fear knowledge. And to apply the wisdom that it brings. To do what? To build. Because when you build with things that are solid and not illusionary, they have a tendency to stay longer, don't they? I think so. Are you following me? Now with the sister with the child, not understanding that birth certificates are bonds, and most people not knowing that they are, usually will approach them with a position of a sense of security or civic duty that, oh, I filed the papers and cool. You know, and it's on file, like it's on file for the record. Not knowing that it's on file for bond against the child and the mother. Because the condition, politically, the condition of the children are the condition of the mother, according to the Christian black codes. And so, irregardless of the condition or the status of the father, the condition of the mother is considered first. All right? So whatever her status is politically, that is what the corporate state will assure, if they have any hand in it, that the children will be. And so if they have the woman in servitude, the children are slaves. That's why it's important that they file that birth certificate in the county record under corporate auspices so they can place their debt and debts in the world against that bond. But then, for the return of service under feudal law, the nomen, which is a phonicism that's on there, refers to what you think is a person because it sounds like their name, but it is not their name. It is back to the man of straw that they created, just like you create a corporation. It's a fiction. But then when they call the debt, they go and get the body that they claim is attached to it, and when the body does not rebuke it, the bond carries as law. Then they sue you.
Islam, Brother Tarik. Could you elaborate for the sake of those of us here who are probably not familiar with how, when we go down and we get married in front of this agent of the state, how we have signed over ourselves and all of our progeny to the state?
And see, and this is the deal, is while you have done it, it is unclean. Because it's not conscious that you do it. Now, and this is, and when you see the sister or brother, make sure they know this. The marriage certificate, particularly in the corporate state of New Jersey, and it would be likewise in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the other corporate states, though they may use different title numbers, comes absolutely, in every respect, absolutely under police powers, Title 37. All right? Now, the state agent's job, which is an overseer, is to convince the slaves that he was sent from God, the Creator God, to bring them together in holy union. The people don't know that they're operating for the Holy Roman Empire, who ordained them, right? And gives them a fee for keeping the niggers from getting restless, which is designated European family property, all right? And when they unite them, it is a contract with the corporation that all issue from the womb of the mother automatically becomes ward, W-A-R-D, write that down, look it up in the law book, of the state. Wards of the state, which is a nice way of saying dependent slave of the state. It's because they say slave, then you get pissed and you want to fight.
Military.
So they just say ward of the state and you're happy, because you don't read anyway. And so, you know, that's how they take it. So they already know we're not going to, most of us, not going to figure it out. And so the wardship status and the filing goes on while we process every day and we're busy sporting and playing. And they're filing liens against us constantly. Which, of course, you know, is why under auspices, because they have debts against these certificates on these living beings that are listed as chattel. That's why they will get you if you hit their property. They come in the middle of the night, kick your door down and take their property out. And you be told, well, they're my children. Corporate, don't even list them as, that's their corporate property. And usually has their name on it. And you have no standing in law to make any argument. However, we're usually looking at it from a moral and ethical position, like there really are, like we've been ethical, as if we've honored our mothers and fathers. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Meanwhile, while the ignorance is perpetrated by the state agents who say that there's a separation of church and state, but they're really state agents, overseers, who just sold us to the state, and we agreed, so now they got that marriage certificate, so it's a bond. And they put a bond on that too, just like they do with certain persons. That's why they want you to take them babies out of the hospital, you understand? And they say, let me give you a social security number, let me give you the name, give us the name, give us the name, give us the name. And they say, well, we're not going to give you the baby. And you be arguing with them, because they're going to file bonds against that child. See, but if you know that, you're not going to argue with them, you're going to prepare yourself communal-wise, and in your consciousness of how to deal with it. Now you understand the filing of your own documents in your indigenous or aboriginal status. Whether you do it in an organized manner or whether you do it individually, now you understand it. Because guess what if you don't? They're going to file a bond on it. That is routine. That's what bureaucratic slavery is. Like, for instance, like, our people will admit that slavery is being bureaucratized, but challenge them to name it and they can't. They'll just stick with the emotions and talk about racism and talk about unfair, but they can't specifically go to the law. That's why it's important for you to understand what is specifically done so you can specifically counter it. Back to point again. Now do you understand again why Noble Drawley set up nationalization process? How it ties in politically to take the natural being out of the corporate jurisdiction that the European Dutch masters created in corporate status under the straw man to steal your essence under suits on ever-living bonds. And those bonds are passed down to their offspring just like any other inherited property. So slaves are inherited. This is why this thing has been perpetrated from generation to generation. Not because nobody likes you or don't like your complexion. They got bonds on you. You got to send Susie's child to college while yours don't go. That's it. Again, you understand the nationalization process and why it was set in place. Now it makes sense to you, doesn't it? Not that it didn't before, but it becomes clearer because it's a political act, for the record, to remove you from the artificial person jurisdiction created by European colonists to bureaucratize slavery. Now, hear this again. And remember this and tie all this back to woman. Keep this in mind, and I'm going to go back to where I left off. Women run all these